Melbourne is famous for its laneways, but they're not just confined to the CBD. Just over 10 kilometres away in the southeastern municipality of Glen, the locals are busy transforming barren, disused spaces into thriving gardens and art galleries. And it all started in this laneway by two women, ex-local cafe owner Rita Santucci and nearby neighbour Kirsten Brooks.
So this is Laz's Lane, and it's the first of the laneway series of the Carnegie laneways through Carnegie and Glen Huntly. It was just a derelict space that's been beautified, and it's just turned into this multifaceted space.
It's a place of connection and community connection. I can just walk down here and have a chat to someone, do a bit of gardening, and there's always someone coming past, walking their dogs or children going to school. It's a meeting place, which is just what community is all about.
So who is Laz?
Yeah. So
who was Laz?
Exactly. So Laz was one of our neighbours, and when we were developing this, he became ill and he passed away. So I think as part of the process of grieving, we thought it was really important to have a memory of him. He was super kind. He helped all of the neighbours. Everything you would want in a good neighbour and part of your community, that was Laz.
So how did you go about transforming this area?
Well, talking to neighbours, and met Kirsten, and I said I'd like to make it look pretty.
What did you do first?
I just put down some compost and some mulch, and then found some plants, and it started from there.
Starting very small, we thought, let's see how it goes. Let's invite other people who live around to drop their plants and their propagations in. This is a no water zone, and some things have worked and some things haven't, but it has been very much about getting people in the community to put in a little bit of themselves into a garden that we can all share.
And tell me about the artwork, because you're really responsible for the
Well,
ceramics and all of that sort of stuff.
Yes, I'm a ceramic artist and I make garden art. And I said I'll make the signage for Laz's Lane, and that's where it first started. And I've made signs for the other laneways as well.
Are you responsible for the paintings of Alice in Wonderland or the Modigliani
No,
paintings?
not the paintings, no.
So who does that?
We source big blue board sheets and we cut them down and prep them for members of the public to take home.
Oh.
So they paint them at their leisure and then they bring them back.
Wonderful. So what do you think Laz would make of this place now?
I think Laz would be absolutely delighted that his neighbours have continued his work in being kind and friendly and welcoming to the area, and that we've enjoyed each other's company. He was about people, he was about community, he was about kindness, and that's what this embodies.
This isn't the only laneway in the community. Just under 2 kilometres away is Bird Lane. The 200-metre long, lush habitat garden is one of 7 in the area, with more in development.
Bird Lane is a different scenario. It's a blue stone drain. All of the properties on the side run their stormwater into it, and it was just full of rubbish, debris, waterlogged even because the channel didn't flow.
Volunteer Tanya Spuava Neyman, with a background in sustainable design, has thrown herself into urban ecology.
I've sort of come into this as a citizen scientist, really, and trying to learn about how we can enhance habitat and make things better for our struggling wildlife. So I've been growing Indigenous plants myself in my own home garden and also propagating a lot of plants. So once I get them growing, you can take seeds, you can take cutting, propagation material. And it sort of coincided quite nicely with getting excited about the potential of the lane and having some plants ready to be able to come and plant here.
You've got 3 plants that are really important for this little area that you're planting in. What are they?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Microlaena stipoides. A common name is weeping grass.
I can see why it's weeping grass.
Yeah, it's
Look
got
at
the
that.
gorgeous seed head on it there. So that's the one that's often suggested as an Indigenous lawn grass, which can be mowed, but it is a fabulous plant for invertebrates, for a larval host plant. Common brown butterflies, for example, love laying their eggs on this, and, you know, We
Yes,
want as
and
much of it as we can in the
get the
local
sun and they'll all
environment.
come in here.
Yeah,
Lovely.
this is Wahlenbergia, which is the native bluebell.
Yeah.
And that's just a gorgeous plant, also a really important larval host plant. Also pollinators, because we've seen tiny little wasps actually going for the flowers on these, which is amazing.
And beautiful little blue flowers too.
Yes,
They're
that's
gorgeous,
right.
yeah.
Yep.
And this one is a lovely one, such commonly grown but beautiful.
Yeah. So the native violets, just a gorgeous ground cover, will do really well here because it's very moist. It's actually a drain.
So that's going to take off, isn't
That
it?
should really take off in these areas where
That'd be
the
great.
water's coming out from people's houses.
How did you find planting in amongst the bluestone though? That's difficult.
Yeah, well, we're quite lucky here because we have, unusually, I think, for these types of lanes, quite a large culvert garden bed on the sides. So weeding the bluestones has been quite challenging. A lot of drain sedge, which is a common weed,
Yes.
but really likes damp areas.
Yeah.
Heaps of drain sedge in between the cracks of the bluestone.
That's a big project. So
It
you've got-
is.
How many people have you got involved in this side of things?
Most working bees, we've had roughly 15 people.
Very good.
Yeah, we certainly would welcome as many as wanted to come.
It's great that people are so interested in what you're doing though, in a funny old laneway. It's
Yeah,
wonderful.
absolutely, yeah.
Long-time working bee volunteer Chun Hin Ng loves the laneway so much he made sure his family has direct access to it from their backyard.
We moved in a few years ago, and then shortly after, maybe a year or two, we found about this laneway. Someone actually knocked on our door and was like, "You want to come join us?" So that was, I think, one of the first working bees. And we're just like, this is an amazing space. Our fence was already slightly going, and we're just like, we just got to put in something here with a gate. We have quite a small courtyard. So having access to this lets my inner gardener come out and actually plant things into the ground. So that's amazing. But there's also like a veggie patch that the kids can help grow stuff in, and just having them exposed to that and being able to play in it as well. Also, the wildlife, the insect life that comes around, seeing the birds flit in and out, it's just really livened up all that connection to wildlife, which you don't often get living in small units in dense places like this.
It's incredible seeing these community-led transformations of public places. They not only green an area, but bring people together.
This is about anybody in the space being able to join in. There's no committee, there's no must be, must have. It's really very freelance, so we never know really where it's going to end. So it's the beauty of the environment, but very much about the community.
This goodwill and enthusiasm has spread beyond the laneways. Not far away, John McKenna has created a small public garden right opposite his house. It's called Reflection Garden, and it's a memorial to 4 Victorian police officers who were tragically killed in a motor accident in 2020. Now, I've known John for many years, and I can't wait to see what he's been up to.
The Glen Reflection Garden is absolutely amazing. I'm loving it. First of all, it started with a little bit of a memorial. So I thought I'd put a couple of pot plants up with some ribbons. The rest is history. It's now over 50 metres long. People keep coming back and watering it, and we've got a great team of volunteers.
So what's the garden all about?
Jane, for me, as a wheelchair user, I get a lot of pleasure out of looking at plants. I don't get to put dirt under my fingernails like you do. But you know what? It's beautiful how I can have a shared purpose, a shared vision with other neighbours who believe in what a nice place to sit and to get in and get involved. And these are the sorts of conversations I've been having for about 4 years as this has evolved. How much pleasure it gives children, senior people, people with disabilities, all people in the community that don't have their own garden.
And isn't that the thing about gardening? That's what draws them all together?
2 things, food and gardening. It brings us all together.
It's true. And how do you manage to get so many volunteers?
It's organic, it's word of mouth. People walk past and talk and stop. We're in between a couple of train stations, so people often say, okay, might have a little rest right now, you know, have something to drink. I'm often saying, hi, how you going? Isn't this beautiful? They all go, yep, love, how did it start? I'm like, all right, I did. But that was years ago.
I reckon it's because you're bossy, that's why.
You do need a little bit of bossiness.
Oh, I was only joking. But
No. No, it's about being friendly but assertive with regards to,
That's good.
go back to the word shared vision. Hey, neighbours, Those weeds keep coming. Thanks for your support.
What does this garden actually mean to you, deep down?
Well, I can be selfish to say I live close, so I get to see it every day. It is about me being able to escape those nasty computers, the screens, to smell and watch and hear the sounds. Because, yes, it's on a train line, but there are plenty of times where it's very quiet. It's in the heart of Melbourne, but it still sends out calming, relaxation, reflection energy, which I love.
Well, I do congratulate you, because from 1 or 2 pots, it's developed into quite something.
It certainly has. And it is quite a space where people can relax, hence the word reflection garden.
From railway gardens to laneways, these once unloved public spaces have had new life breathed into them, all thanks to passionate community volunteers.